Yo, welcome back to another video. We ready to get right into it. I wasn't gonna do no more videos. It's crazy, man. I'm still waiting on Red Dead to finish downloading. I turned my PS5, I put it in rest mode so it'll download faster, maybe. I don't know. Should be done in maybe 46 minutes. Maybe.
What the heck was all that Harry Styles stuff about? Where did Baron Mordo go after Doctor Strange? And who were all those Kangs at the end of Quantum Mania? Truth is, nobody knows the answers to these questions, and there's a good chance we'll never find out. Thor: Love and Thunder was another MCU film that ended with the dramatic introduction of a character we've not seen since. The fourth Thor movie ends with Zeus recovering from the fight in a Nipotent city. Bemoaning the fact that mortals now prefer superheroes over gods, Zeus orders his son Hercules to hunt down and kill Thor. Played by Ted Lasso star Brett Goldstein, the MCU version of Hercules looks incredibly faithful to his bare-chested, mace-wielding comic counterpart, who first appeared in 1965's Journey into Mystery Annual No. 1. In the comics, a Greek demigod was a frequent rival of Thor's and eventually joined the Avengers. The promise of an on-screen battle between the two heroes has yet to be fulfilled, however. And with Thor set to appear in Avengers Doomsday, we can probably assume that Hercules hasn't had much luck in killing him thus far. Back in 2023, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania introduced the world to the next big bad of the MCU, Kang the Conqueror. One of the most powerful supervillains in Marvel Comics, Kang debuted in 1963's Fantastic Four issue 19 as Rama Tut, one variant of a multiversal time traveler whose conquests have spawned countless versions of himself. Quantumania ends with Ant-Man believing Kang to be destroyed, only for the mid-credit scene to show the Council of Kangs preparing to conquer the multiverse.
And if we let them, they will take everything.
This was supposed to be the lead-up to a fifth Avengers film, the Kang Dynasty, which had been announced in 2022. Clearly, Kang had a big future ahead of him. And then it all went horribly wrong. In 2023, Jonathan Majors was arrested and accused of domestic abuse. He was convicted of reckless assault and harassment later that year. Marvel Studios fired him as a result, scuttling the studio's plans for an MCU retelling of Kang's story. The fifth Avengers film was quickly retooled, and in 2024, Marvel announced Avengers Doomsday, with Robert Downey Jr. leading the cast as the legendary comic book villain Doctor Doom. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness features a mid-credit sequence in which Strange meets Clea, a mysterious woman with mystical powers. Clea opens a portal to the Dark Dimension, inviting Strange to join her in fixing an interdimensional incursion. Played by Academy Award-winning actor Charlize Theron, Clea first appeared in 1964's Strange Tales issue 126. She is both a powerful sorceress and the niece of the powerful Dormammu. Strange's longtime love interest and eventual wife, Clea, also bore the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme for a time. Clea's debut in Multiverse of Madness signals a significant new adventure for Doctor Strange. But while incursions have turned out to be the biggest threats in the MCU's multiverse saga, neither character has turned up since. Oh well, there's always Doomsday, right? Spider-Man: Homecoming introduced a handful of Spider-Man's rogues galleries to the MCU, most notably Michael Keaton as Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture. Fans also probably recognize Vulture's associates as versions of Shocker, Tinkerer, Data, Shocker again, and Scorpion. In particular, Matt Gargan has long been a stalwart Spidey bad guy, and it was pretty exciting that Marvel got an actor of Michael Mando's caliber to play him. So, why hasn't he turned up since? Well, Spider-Man: Homecoming ends with Vulture encountering Scorpion in prison, where Gargan fails to convince Toomes to give up Spider-Man's real identity.
I've got some boys on the outside who'd love to meet him. You know, take a picture, slice his throat, put his head in the dryer.
It's an intriguing tease for a future showdown between Spidey and Scorpion, and Gargan's attempt to recruit Vulture even gives off Sinister Six vibes. Sadly though, Sony and Marvel went down a different route for the Spider-Man sequels. Nearly a decade later, we've still seen neither hide nor hair of Scorpion and Vulture. And no, Morbius doesn't count. Directed by Academy Award winner Chloe Zhao, Eternals was supposed to be the beginning of a brand new superhero franchise for Marvel Studios. Instead, the critically lambasted film became a narrative dead end, leaving behind a ton of unanswered questions. In the movie's mid-credits scene, the Eternals are surprised by the arrival of the drunken, teleporting Pip the Troll. Pip introduces Eros, the handsome Prince of Titan, who also happens to be Thanos' hitherto unknown brother. The casting of Harry Styles as Eros suggests that Zhao had big plans for an Eternal sequel. But in July 2024, Kevin Feige told Inverse that there were no immediate plans for an Eternals 2. Meanwhile, the post-credit scene in Eternals has the misfortune of hinting at a totally different disaster. In this scene, the disembodied voice of Blade asks Dane Whitman if he's ready to take on the powers of the Black Knight. Although he wasn't credited for his cameo, the voice was performed by Mahershala Ali, who was cast as the iconic vampire hunter for Marvel's Blade movie back in 2019. Unfortunately, the project has endured numerous production delays since then, and Ali's version of Blade has yet to make an on-screen appearance in the MCU. Doctor Strange ends with a post-credits scene that sets up a future fight not only for Stephen Strange, but for every magic user in the Marvel Universe. Almost 10 years later, however, that fight has yet to unfold. Karl Mordo, a sorcerer disillusioned by the Ancient One's secret connection to the Dark Dimension, seeks out the magic user Jonathan Pangborn and takes his powers. When Pangborn asks why, Mordo offers his diagnosis of the word's ills.
Too many sorcerers.
First appearing in 1963's Strange Tales issue 111, Mordo is one of Doctor Strange's most persistent foes, and the post-credits scene of Doctor Strange suggested that the MCU version was well on the path to villainy. But while Chiwetel Ejiofor appeared in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, he played a variant of Mordo from Earth 838. Nothing else is mentioned of Mordo, or what has become of his crusade against Earth's sorceress. Sam Raimi revealed in a DVD commentary that an early version of the sequel opened with Mordo's death at the hands of the Scarlet Witch, but that scene was abandoned before it could be filmed. For now, Karl Mordo remains trapped in his own dark dimension, cinematic limbo. The MCU has never quite known what to do with Sharon Carter. Debuting in 1966's Tales of Suspense issue 75, the comic book Carter is a skilled S.H.I.E.L.D. operative and Captain America's on-again, off-again love interest. She is also the grandniece of Steve Rogers' first love, Peggy Carter, a character whose popularity soared thanks to Hayley Atwell's performance in Captain America: The First Avenger. Captain America: The Winter Soldier then introduced Sharon, played by Emily Van Camp, who then shared a controversial kiss with Steve in Captain America: Civil War. Avengers Endgame reunited Steve and Peggy, leaving Sharon as a loose end, until she reappeared in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Having become a fugitive after helping Captain America during the events of Civil War, Sharon secretly decides to make herself into the supervillain known as the Power Broker. The series finale, One World, One Piece, ends with a mid-credits scene revealing that Sharon plans to take advantage of her recent pardon to sell out the US government, solidifying her turn to the dark side.
Government secrets, prototype weapons, you name it. Should be something for everyone.
Sharon has yet to appear in the MCU though, either as Agent 13 or the Power Broker, making this a somewhat bleak end for a storied comic book character. Fans hoping for an on-screen showdown between Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Tom Hardy's Venom have a long wait ahead of them. Spider-Man and Venom occupy two distinct cinematic universes owned by two different companies, Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures, although for a moment they did share the briefest of crossovers. In the mid-credits scene from Venom: Let There Be Carnage, both Venom and Eddie Brock are suddenly transported into the MCU, where they see a television broadcast identifying Spider-Man as Peter Parker. Spider-Man: No Way Home, released a few months later, revealed that this incident was the accidental result of one of Doctor Strange's corrupted spells. The mid-credits scene of that movie finds Brock and Venom drinking at a bar in Mexico and deciding they should finally talk to Spider-Man. But then...
What is happening? No, we just got here! No, not again!
Unknowingly, however, they leave a tiny piece of the living symbiote behind in the MCU. To this day, the fate of the symbiote in the MCU remains unknown. Whether it makes an appearance in Spider-Man: Brand New Day or even Avengers: Secret Wars remains to be seen. James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy concludes on a rather definitive note for the ragtag team of alien misfits, with the Guardians going their separate ways and Star-Lord visiting Earth to reunite with his grandfather. The mid-credits and post-credits scenes of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, however, leave the door open for sequels, which may or may not ever materialize. First, the mid-credits scene establishes a new Guardians of the Galaxy team, made up of Rocket, Groot, Adam Warlock, Cosmo, Kraglin, and Phyla-Vell. the post-credits scene returns to Star-Lord, now enjoying a mundane breakfast with his grandfather. This would be a touching final scene, but Marvel then promises that the legendary Star-Lord will return. Being back on his home planet puts Star-Lord back in the orbit of earthly heroes like the Avengers, but no future project starring either the new Guardians team or Star-Lord has yet been announced. The 25th film in the MCU, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, certainly had a lot on its plate. The movie only introduced audiences to its titular character and the mystical dimension of Tarlo, but also tied up lingering plot threads from both Iron Man and Iron Man 3.
Oh, hello, loves. What year is it?
Unfortunately, Shang-Chi left a few loose ends of its own. In the mid-credits scene, Shang-Chi and Katie learn from Wong, Bruce Banner, and Carol Danvers that the mystical Ten Rings are emitting a powerful beacon to an unknown location. This seems like an obvious setup for a sequel. Although there's a good chance that the Ten Rings will turn out to be a plot point in Avengers Doomsday, in which Simu Liu is set to star. The post-credit scene of Shang-Chi sets up a storyline that we're less likely to see resolved anytime soon. It finds Shang-Chi's younger sister, Xia Ling, secretly reforming the Ten Rings terrorist organization. The film ends with a title card promising that the Ten Rings will return, but neither Xia Ling nor her organization have reappeared in the MCU since. The Marvels holds the dubious honor of being the lowest-grossing film in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. In fact, the movie was a straight-up box office bomb, leaving the fates of its three heroines in doubt. Monica Rambeau sacrifices herself at the end of the Marvels to seal a cosmic tear between realities. Following the credits, Monica awakens in the parallel universe, where she meets a variant of her late mother, Maria, and the mutant X-Man, Beast. Grammer has since been confirmed to appear in Avengers Endgame, but neither Tiana Paris nor Lashana Lynch have been announced thus far. Will we see their names appear on the cast list in future? Or could the box office failure of the Marvels have cut short Monica and Maria's cross-dimensional family reunion? Moon Knight revolves around Mark Spector, a mercenary with dissociative identity disorder who becomes the avatar of the Egyptian moon god Khonshu. By the final episode, Gods and Monsters, Spector has defeated the villainous Arthur Harrow, reconciled with his alter ego Stephen Grant, and rejected Khonshu's path of vengeance. Or so we think. In the episode's mid-credits sequence, an unseen stranger abducts Harrow from a psychiatric hospital and bundles him into a limousine, where he's greeted by Khonshu himself. And Khonshu is more than pleased to reveal his new partner in crime.
Meet my friend, Jake Lockley.
The twist ending has shocking implications for Moon Knight's future. Unlike Spector and Grant, Jake Lockley doesn't hesitate to kill on Khonshu's behalf. Spector and Lockley coming to blows seems like the perfect premise for a second season of Moon Knight, though no follow-up has been officially announced. She-Hulk Attorney at Law brought metafictional mayhem to the Marvel Cinematic Universe with its irreverent mix of action, comedy, and courtroom chaos.
She-Hulk smash.
The show's many special guest stars are one of the best things about it, but the post-credits scene raised questions even as it left us laughing. In Episode 9, Whose Show Is This?, Emil Blonsky peacefully returns to Damage Control's Supermax prison after violating his parole. Blonsky isn't there for long though. His sparring partner Wong breaks him out of prison using an interdimensional portal, and the pair disappear while bantering about Kamar-Taj's Wi-Fi capabilities. As funny as this scene might be, the wider implications of the Sorcerer Supreme breaking former supervillains out of a prison are left unresolved. Tim Roth didn't appear in Captain America Brave New World alongside his former Incredible Hulk castmates Liv Tyler and Tim Blake Nelson, suggesting that Blonsky is still unaccounted for. Does Kamar-Taj have a no extradition policy?
Okay. Yeah. We out of here. Sorry if y'all couldn't see me. I was just laying down. Yeah, a little tired.